Alright, what's going on, y'all? So in today's video, we are going to be looking at the final versions of this month's rental teams. So if you've been following along with the channel, you've likely seen quite a few of these teams, but it is always important to compile them in one place for people who want them and for the people who are maybe just finding the channel more recently, right? So, if you are one of those people, welcome. Consider leaving a like or subscribe if you're not already, or a comment to, help boost the algorithm and help the videos get out there, right? But yeah, I do appreciate y'all, and I really like these teams. We are going to be having a little bit less videos coming out over the next 2 weeks because I'm gonna be learning how to make jewelry basically. I'm going to jewelry school for 2 weeks, so I'm really excited for that. But anything that's gonna be coming out for the next 2 weeks has to be pre-recorded, so we're probably only gonna have maybe a video every other day or something. I don't know, but I'm gonna try to do what I can. Of course, I do appreciate y'all. So with that being said, yeah, thank you, and let's just try to go through these teams as quickly as we can, since there is 10 of them. So, first and foremost, this is a new team. I like the way it turned out. It did pretty well on Showdown. There's always going to be little adjustments that you could make, like giving Rillaboom Swords Dance instead of Ogerpon, but I just kind of felt like this seemed like it was working pretty well. So we have the Assault Vest, very standard set Assault Vest Tyranitar with the low kick and the flying Terra Blast. The good thing is now knockoff is in the game, so you can use knockoff Tyranitar. It will do very good damage, so that's nice. We have a Defiant Zapdos to ward away Intimidators with the Fire Terra Thunderous Kick to help all of our physical attackers, since Zapdos is actually the fastest Pokemon on the team. So, well, outside of Sandrush, Houndstone, right? But when you do click Thunderous Kick, you're technically lowering things' defense, which synergizes with the rest of the team. However, I do think that sometimes close combat is better to have. So there's kind of a trade-off there because we don't have bulk up, but I'm not exactly sure if it's gonna matter. It might, but we'll see. Going on, we have the Citrus Berry Rillaboom, we have the Life Orb Zapdos, Regidrago, with the Steel Terra Blast, Draco, Meteor, and Dragon Energy. I decided to go with Spell Tag Dragon Terra Houndstone because, we are doing our damage through ground moves, and we don't really need something like a Life Orb to boost our damage, right? Lastly, we have Ogerpon, which is kind of the main idea of the team, is that Rock Ogerpon gets a special defense boost in the sand, and it gets a defense boost when it puts its mask on, so it can actually become pretty bulky, and with the Swords Dance, Grassy Glide, Ivy Sudgel, should be pretty scary. I guess it kind of would have made sense to give it Horn Leech, right? So, that's now something that I'm thinking about, but, I don't know. I like how this team is. I felt like the Grassy Glide was really nice for Ogerpon to have, but that's kind of because it has Swords Dance, and so, either one can technically have Swords Dance, but I think it's been going well. So, if I really need to change it, I will. I'm gonna be playing the team later tonight, so. Going on, this is the updated version of our Leftovers Calm Mind Ursaluna team. The big changes is just that I made Shiftry Windrider, so now it is a Windrider Shiftry with Sucker Punch instead of Icy Wind. we now have Icy Wind on Tornadus, replacing Taunt, which I just kind of felt like is important. I took Icy Wind off Clefairy for Life Dew because it's on another team that's locked in my box. We have the Citrus Berry Chi with Nasty Plot and Heat Wave. One of the main reasons we kept Sunny Day is because it's good with Flutter Mane and Chi-Yu, so like, if I was really like not worried about that extra damage, I'd probably just use Taunt, right? But we should be fine with this. And then lastly, we have the Pixie Plate Flutter Mane, not running Shadow Ball, running Dazzling Gleam, Moonblast, Icy Wind, and Substitute. Now, you do get, excuse me, you do get a speed boost when you click Sunny Day, so you do have to remember that Flutter Mane is not getting additional damage, it's getting speed from Sunny Day, and that's why it has Ice Wind. So you just want to kind of keep that in mind, like, it is a fast Ursaluna team, it is a Chi team, and so a lot of the times that extra speed moderation through Tornadus and Flutter Mane is actually going to be really useful. Like, you might not get to click Sunny Day every time, but at least if you click Tailwind, you do have Icy Wind to guarantee speed lowering and speed moderation, so it's definitely kind of nice to have. And if we need to deal with Trick Room, we can click Substitute, I guess, or just click Calm Mind. But yeah, it's a fun team. I look forward to trying it again. Okay, so there's this. We have a really interesting looking team that I threw together. It kind of started as the team that people were asking me to make, which was the Cinderace Mightyena team. And I decided I'd rather like actually try to think that team through and just make it next month instead of this month, because like I don't have a solid idea made. So if I'm gonna do community ideas, we're gonna do them right. So the one thing about this team is that I don't really think Alolan Ninetales is perfect in any way, shape, or form. Originally I think I had Fire Terra Ogerpon, and I just wanted another special attacker on the team, and also Screens is good with Okie Dokie and Ursaluna and everything, so if we really need to, we can start Roaring Moon, sorry, I don't know why I'm like, my face is like itchy right now, but we can start Roaring Moon Ninetales and technically click Tailwind Aurora Veil. If we really need to, we can Dark Terror to stop them from taunting us, but we have Farigiraf too, so like, we're doing quite a lot with this team to try to make the awkward parts of it work better, right? Like, Scizor, kind of awkward right now, but with Screens and Swords Dance, it's really threatening. We're going back to the older Ursaluna because we can. It's still like really, really good, and people are definitely sleeping on that. Like, Flame Orb Facade, one of the best moves in the format, so, you know. We have the Rocky Helmet Farigiraf, kind of nice, and then Roaring Moon now having knockoff means it's like a way bigger threat than it used to be, even though it is pretty physically frail, and that comes up quite a lot when it's facing things like Iron Hands, because it literally dies in one hit, so you just have to kind of keep that in mind. And like, again, we have Screens, so we're trying, right? Like, and we have Protect too, so like, we have like 5 of our Pokemon can Protect. This is technically a good team, you know, like, it has all the good stuff you need. It has all Protects, it has setup moves that make it really scary, it has Bulk, it has Trick Room, Tailwind, you know, like, I'm excited to try it. But we are going to keep it moving in the name of time here. So this next team is like, in my mind, the final version of my Kitakami prologue team, which I named Kitagoomba. It is now not called Kitagoomba anymore, I suppose, because I have it in a different slot now. So now it's just called Worm Bear. Boo, boring. But this is the Kitagoomba team. We have Life Orb, Water Terra. Water Terra is pretty much the best, but yeah, like, for Sinistcha, a lot of people are doing Water Terra. I'm doing Life Orb because I like it. The idea is that, you know, if you're healing with Machigacha, what does the Life Orb really matter? So, you know, we're picking up our own slack with Machigacha, and then Life Orb giving us the extra damage, which gives us extra healing, you know. So nice. We're making up for our own slack, like I said. So yeah, a great set there on Sinistcha, in my opinion, just to help make it more offensive as well. We have a Throat Spray Ursaluna, which is now fast, as opposed to the original team having a slow Ursaluna. We have everything else being the same, except that we now have Grimmsnarl over Clefairy. So I just didn't feel like Clefairy was doing that much. I really didn't. Like, we already have Follow Me on Ogerpon and Mousehold. That's kind of enough. Like, the screens is really good to have, and Thunder Wave serves as an extra form of speed moderation, similarly to Tailwind, right? But it's like even more annoying because it has a chance of them not doing anything. So it's really good with with a team comp like this. So I just felt like this is a better version of my Kitakami Prologue team, and originally I was planning on doing a faster Ursaluna and then having like Ninetales and King Gambit over Mousehold, but yeah, so like I'm pretty happy with how this team turned out, and you know, we do what we have to do. Going on to the 5th team, we have the Double Pony team, as we like to say. So this is actually a pretty, I mean, I would like to call it tried and true, but like, quote unquote, it's a tried and true recreation of my Players Cup 2 team from like 2001. So, or yes, 2021. So back in 2021, when the Players Cup 2 was happening, we had Glastrier. We were allowed one legendary, right? And I had a version of this team that had Kyogre as the legendary. I had a version of this team that had Calyrex Haunts, as we like to call it, aka Blaster Horse, aka Calyrex Ice. And now it's a Glastrier. And so we just wanted to kind of recreate that team to pay homage to it, and because it's fun. We originally had Wigglytuff over Clefairy, but because Wigglytuff does not get Ally Switch anymore, we really can't play those like silly games with Slowbro. So we're just gonna kind of do Clefairy things, right? And so it is a really scary team, like Life Orb Vikable, Assault Vest Mudsdale. If I would change anything, I would make Mudsdale Ghost Terra, but I don't really think it's that much worth changing to like redo the team at the moment. So we have the Swords Dance Citrus Berry Glastrier, which has been really nice, honestly. Like, I don't feel like it comes out that often, but when it does, it can definitely do things. And the Water Terror is nice. So, Safety Goggles Slowbro. This Safety Goggles feels a little bit antiquated now that Amoonguss is not really being seen anymore, but it's nice to have. Like, it's Spore is the main way to stop Slowbro from doing what it wants to do on this team, right? And if anything, you would replace it with like an Expert Belt or something, because Vikavolt has my Life Orb, and I actually really like Life Orb Slowbro, so especially when paired with Torkoal. Like, if you guys don't remember, last season of the Draft League that is now about to start again, we got second place in the draft league with a Slowbro Torkoal Dragonite team. So I definitely have my fair share of practice with Slowbro Torkoal. Not just going back to last season of the draft league, but again, you know, going back to like 2021 with the original version of this team. So yeah, I mean, I like this team a lot. It's available for rent, so try it. Just like every one of these teams. But definitely let me know what team is your favorite. And we're going to jump over to Scarlet and Violet and look at the other 5 teams. So hold your horses. But again, I imagine quite a few of you have seen a lot of these teams already. And for those of you who actually watch the videos to these points, that like you have an attention span long enough to watch this stuff and not just like click through the video and be like, I want that rental, I want that rental, like I just want the codes, I don't want to hear anything. I appreciate you. But what I was gonna say is I do like recognize that I've still been working on getting my sound levels perfect, as well as like I'm usually filming in a place that has really poor lighting for my camera, so I know like while I bought my new laptop in efforts to make the quality of my videos better to help grow the channel, yada yada, I still have not been fully delivering on that better quality, and I'm working on that, right? Like some parts I can help a little better than others. There's kind of a learning curve on the sound stuff, and I am getting better at it, but like I can't really help being in a place where I have like bad lighting and stuff currently. So you know, I'm right like where I am today, good lighting. But yeah, that was the point. So thank you all for just bearing with me for everything. And we are making progress on the channel, and I do appreciate y'all for recognizing that. So going on to this next team, this is the Dusclops Arcanine Fazandipitit team. I honestly really like this team. Like, it just turned out like unique but standard, if that makes sense. Like, this is kind of a good stuffs team, but it's not like Champao Chi Fluttermane, right? Like, which is the like a more standard good stuffs. This is, you know, Arcanine, Rillaboom, Ursaluna, Fazandipitit's actually pretty decent, and like, yeah, so it's a really fun team, and I was more or less inspired to make this after my Iron Hands got one shot by a Choice Band Fairy Tera Arcanine, and I was like, bro, like, okay. okay. I was like, I see the light, okay, I get it. And so, yeah, we were inspired to make a Fairy Tera Choice Band Arcanine team. We have Dusclops with Dark Tera because Dark Tera is the best way to guarantee Trick Room. Unless they have Imprisoned, then you have to deal with it. We have Swords Dance, Grassy Glide, Woodhammer on this team with Rillaboom, and we have the Follow Me on Ogerpon. So again, you can kind of see how like there is definitely times where that's the right thing to do, but on the other team, we would just have to basically like, I would keep Fake Out over Protect on the other team probably, but we'll see what happens again. Assault Vest Ursaluna on this team with Ghost Tera. I do think Fairy Tera is good sometimes, but it's not always the best, so I think Ghost Tera is pretty nice, honestly. We have Life Orb Fazandipitit to do some damage with Air Cutter Venoshock when you get the Toxic Chain and Dazzling Gleam. So for those who don't know what Venoshock does, it doubles damage if your opponent is poisoned, and it has 65 base power. So if your opponent is poisoned, the 65 goes to 130, goes to quick math, 195, my guy. Because it's, 130 times 1.5 with the stab. So it's a pretty powerful hit, and you just have to deal with the fact that you don't have Sludge Bomb to do immediate damage if you really want. So Fazandipitit can kind of deal with it, and it hasn't been a problem yet. So I like the team. Ogerpon is slow on his team, so it just seems like Ogerpon Water likes to go slow. Like, it likes to be bulky, and not necessarily likes to go slow, but it does like to be bulky, put it that way. And then I also have my Ogerpon Rock on the other team being slow, but we'll see if that's a good thing. So, going on to the next team is my team that I got top 8 in the Joe UX9 pop-up tour with. This is it's a good stuff team, like, you gotta have at least a few every month. We want to have a range of kind of cheese to really good for whatever people want, and we don't really have any full cheese teams for this month. I've been trying to hone my skills, so I generally try to build better teams than just pure cheese, but sometimes. So yeah, we have Ogerpon, very standard Champow, very standard Tornadus with Tailwind, Taunt, Sunny Day, Bleaker Storm, Covert Cloak, and Ghost Terra. We have the very standard Landorus, very standard others. We have Choice Specs Chi with Ghost Terra Blast, because it's a good way to deal damage into things like Urshifu, whereas you would not be able to hit it otherwise if you did not have that Water Terra Urshifu, that is. And then, yeah, the Life Orb, Trick Room, Imprison, Flutter Mane. So, a lot of people think, why would you actually run Life Orb, Trick Room, Imprison on, a open team sheet format? And the thing is, just the utility of actually having it makes a huge difference, right? Because, your opponent has to respect that you have it, and you also have the ability to imprison opposing Flutter Manes. So if you do start something like Tailwind Imprison, you can shut down an opposing Flutter Mane and kind of force them to have to click Moonblast. So, I mean, if they're smart, they'll click Moonblast anyways, but if they don't, they lose a turn, and then now that's literally the only thing they can do. Unless, they'll probably have Protect or something, I don't know. You know what I mean? They definitely have another move. Unless they're really doing this. So, it's a fun team. Going on to the next. This is basically, I was trying to see if I could make that other team better by taking Chiyu off for Iron Hands, taking Sunny Day off for Icy Wind, because I was losing to Tornaduses that had Icy Wind. So I was technically, I would like to go back to that other team and give that team, I would kind of like to take Sunny Day off that team for Icy Wind, but I don't really think it's that worth it. And the other team was clearly doing very good results, since it did get top 8. So even the changes that I made didn't seem to necessarily make the team better, even though I did get 3-2 in the tournament that I tried this in, and so this team's not bad. It's just, it doesn't feel necessarily perfect, mostly because Milotic is just kind of okay, in my opinion. I think there's better options. So yeah, so this is basically just an updated version of that other team with Milotic and Iron Hands over Chiyu and the other one. What was it? Champow. 8th team. The 8th team of the month is the team that we won a tournament with, where the criteria of team building for the tournament was that we were kept into the realm of only Regulation A and the DLC and the Sui region. So nothing with like paradoxes, nothing with ruins, nothing with like Tornadus, Heatran type of things. You know, it was all like power levels that are under the paradoxes, basically, is the point. So we did have Blood Moon Ursaluna. We discussed after the tour that Blood Moon Ursaluna is probably the one thing we would take out of the tour, even though probably keeping regular Ursaluna, which doesn't make that much sense, but I mean, it's fine, right? Like, you gotta have something to counter Armrogue. Not that Ursaluna counters Armrogue. King Gambit does a decent job at that, right? But yeah, I mean, so we were limited to Pokemon with power levels that are under the paradoxes, and basically like tiers under the paradoxes, because technically power levels can get up to paradox level with like things like Dragonite, right? Like their power levels are kind of comparable to paradoxes, but you guys get the point. So moving on. We do have that Snorlax, the Psychic Seed in DD, which in this format is actually really good because, like, the bulk that you're afforded by the Psychic Seeds helps you get around things like Blood Moon and the other really strong physical or special attackers that would be able to just try to run through the team and stop you from just having that follow me pressure. So Life Orb Armrogue, this is just the set that I've been running since like the first, Regulation A. Like Armrogue, in my opinion, is one of those Pokemon that like you really don't need to change anything about it most of the time. Like it's basically like Chien-Pao. Like you just run the same set you've always run, and it's really not that bad. Like, and obviously there's situations where like actually making those adjustments will make the difference, right? Like, let's say if I realized, hey, like, I literally haven't clicked Wide Guard at all, like, why don't I just run Energy Ball, that could have been a big difference, right? But this was fine. We have Gyarados with Safety Goggles. The Safety Goggles Gyarados made a huge difference on this team, honestly, like, because Amoonguss is really good in this format, and we were able to easily shut down our opponent's Amoongus's with the Safety Goggles taunt, while also stopping things from being able to set Trick Room and things like that normally would not be able to get like Prankster taunted, right? So we were able to pressure Friggrass, we were able to pressure, for example, like a King Gambit from clicking Swords Dance. Like, I can't think of another example, so I'm just using that, right? But like, the fact that we could do that, is a big deal. I have the hiccups. I decided to go back to a regular King Gambit set from the early days because I just thought like the extra type of damage to have would be nice, and we definitely found it nice. Like, I clicked Iron Head and Terra Blast multiple times throughout the tour, and so it was good. The one thing I would change, Medicham, like, it came to, like, 2 matches, and, like, sure, it did something. Like, we skill swapped the one time, and it was funny, right? But, like, we have Covert Cloak, which meant that, like, every time Medicham would have gotten a Defiant proc, it didn't, because I have Covert Cloak. And so, like, that's nice for saying that I don't need in DD to get Trick Room, but it was, yeah, I mean, like, it's a Medicham, right? Like, it's the cheese part of the team. It let me make a thumbnail that said, I want to tour with Medicham. But yeah, I mean, I would change Medicham for, like, 4th one. So, 9th team is the final version of the Vikavolt Snorlax team. We originally had Cresselia and Clefairy over Ogerpon and Indeedee, I think. So I just felt like, honestly, like, Indeedee can just do the job of Clefairy and Lunala. Or Cresselia, sorry. Cresselia just looks like a Lunala, am I right? Like, am I right or am I left? Like, just saying. But yeah, I mean, so Indeedee basically does Cresselia and Clefairy's job at the same time. It has Dazzling Gleam, Follow Me, Trick Room, and Heal Pulse with the Water Terra and the Rocky Helmet on this team. We did switch the Heatran to Ability Shield because, let's be honest, it is one of the best ways to deal with a Fire Ogerpon in the current format. And then, yeah, I mean, we have the Water Terra Ogerpon on this team now. It has Swords Dance, IG, Sludge-Bolt, Woodhammer. We have Landorus, still standard Landorus. This one has Earthquake, so I guess not technically standard, but like Ogerpon resists Earthquake, Grass Terra Heatran resists Earthquake, so like you can click Earthquake next to most things on this team and not worry that much about it. And, you know, even if I really need to, I'll click Earthquake next to Snorlax too, like, I don't care. Like, so, like, for example, one of the best ways to stop a Armorogue on this team is actually going to be to start Landorus Snorlax and to pressure them into clicking Follow Me and just click Earthquake, like double Earthquake twice. Because, like, they'll live Landorus's Earthquake, they won't live Snorlax's. And if they do Terra right away, like, good for them. But yeah, I mean, it just unfortunate, you know, like, Armorogue's really good. What are you gonna do about it? You have to use Heatran, basically. That's what you do about it. So, yeah, we have Heatran. And we also have, like, Indeedee and things like that. So, we're gaming. And, okay. I guess that's everything. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Tell me what team is your favorite, which team you're looking forward to trying, and I know the channel sometimes does well when I end up being busy, so like, I'm sorry if you guys are excited to see me use some of these teams over the next few days, and I'm just gonna, like, not be able to make videos as much as I quote-unquote want to. Like, I mean, you know, I'd like to say that busting my butt to make a bunch of videos would, like, make a difference, but I know it really wouldn't, so, like, like, unfortunately, I'm not gonna, like, overwork myself to make videos that are not gonna make that big of a difference. Like, but if you do appreciate the channel, definitely let me know. It does help. But, you know, I'm also technically doing this right now at, like, 3 in the morning before I have to fly anyways, so, like, I'm already putting in that work, so it's like, yeah, I do hope you guys appreciate it, even though it usually doesn't end up getting appreciated, but we don't need to say that, so, you know, it's not about being negative. It's about sharing with the community, so. I'm looking forward to what I have coming. Thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry that we will have less videos coming in the next 2 weeks, but I will keep you guys updated, and we will be back to full force to finish out the year. So, thank y'all, and have a good day.